Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today. For this one we are going to continue on with my Japanese sake reviews. So this one will be sake review number 12 if memory serves me correctly. And for this one we're going to go to the second prefecture that I visited in Kyushu along with my cousin and my girlfriend. So that happened to be Kumamoto prefecture, and we're going to go to Oguni, which is in the northeastern kind of corner of that prefecture. So for this one we're going to try my first sake from Kawazu Shuzo, and this one is a Seishu coming in at 15%. So when it comes to Seishu sake, that literally just means that it's a filtered sake and that it's clear. And it says on the top here that this one uses, the name of this sake in fact is Akigeshiki, and Akigeshiki is a special strain of rice that these guys have used, and this one's a limited edition, so that makes it even more interesting to review on the channel for you. So it is I think it's a Junmai Seishu if I'm being correct, because it uses 100% pure rice actually. So yeah, it should be a really interesting one this, and it's always cool to try sakes from different prefectures because you know this is a very regional product. You probably can't get this sake in any other prefectures other than Kumamoto. So I want to make this a little bit of a mission for the channel to try a sake from each of the different prefectures around Japan. So here is your Kumamoto review, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do from Kawazu Shuzo in the future. Very first time I'm trying one of their sakes. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so you can go and search for beer and sakes and whiskies and stuff like that based on country, city, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of sakes as well. I've got one there for basically all the sakes that I'm reviewing, and that's been added to whenever I get the opportunity. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other sakes, beers, whiskies and stuff like that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. And I will state, I am by no means an expert when it comes to sake. This is just something I enjoy doing as a little bit of an enthusiast, as a sidearm of my main kind of craft beer activities. So yeah, let's tell you a little bit about Kawazu Shuzo then, on to my brewery notes. So as I mentioned to you earlier, Kawazu Shuzo are based in Oguni, which is in the northeastern part of Kumamoto prefecture in Kyushu, the southernmost of the 4 main islands of Japan. So the brewery was founded back in 1932 when Yasushi Kawazu took over the brewery in Oguni, and he took over this brewery basically because he was really impressed with how kind of pure their ingredients and things like that were. But the water that they use in this sake comes from the Chikogu River, and they also produce some shochu as well. Kyushu generally is more known for its shochu than its nihonshu, so I actually had to, search quite hard to get a sake from each different prefecture when I was down there. There's some of these prefectures only have a couple of sake breweries, which is a lot less than some of the other prefectures up north in fact. But this company is currently run by Hiroaki Kawazu, who returned to Kyushu in 2011 having worked for a number of years in the IT industry in Tokyo, and he's led a considerable modernisation of the company, but they've retained a number of the old traditional methods such as the tank squeezing and also the bag squeezing as well when they're making the rice take on the water. But he's the 3rd generation of his family to run the company, and this brewery is particularly interesting because it uses a house strain of yeast to actually brew it, so it's very unique in that regard. And they also use the hanashi rice, which makes them very, very sweet. So this is a sake brewery that's particularly known for sweet sakes, and also the sweetness is quite unique because of the yeast strains that they're using. And this is one of the things that I really love about sake brewing in Japan. Each of these little breweries have their own little niches and things like that, so it's even more craft, if you like, than the craft beers that I normally review. It's a lot more hands-on. Even when they're actually trying to make the rice just take on water before they use it in the brew, all of the bag turning and stuff like that is done by hand. So Japanese sake is even more hands-on than the craft beers that I review for you normally. But yeah, that was all the information I was able to find on Kawazu Shuzo. It's quite difficult to find information on some of these little sake breweries because they're very small, family-owned companies. But this one, from what I gather, is a very highly regarded company in Kyushu generally, and in Kumamoto Prefecture. So I thought this was a good one to review for you. And I'm curious to see how this one turns out with this rice strain that is, or this rice type, if you like. I'm not sure what the exact word I should use here is, but I'm very curious to see how this one turns out with the Akigeshiki rice, because it was, you know, highly recommended. And Michiko searched that on her phone beforehand and said, yeah, this is, you know, a really famous type of rice. So yeah, if you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website. As I say, I'll see if they've got a Facebook and things like that. Not many of these sake breweries do, but check out all the links in the description below. And let's get on to the tasting. So as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 15% Seishu, which literally means that it's a clear, filtered sake. And going by, it doesn't tell you how milled the rice is, so you can't say whether it's you know, ginjo or daiginjo or anything like this. But it does say that it's 100%. It's 100% rice, so that kind of means that it's a Junmai as well, because like I've told you before, you get Junmai, which is pure rice, and then you get the Honjozos, where they add a little bit of distilled alcohol to them, and then Ginjo and Daiginjo is all about how milled down the rice is, and you get a few other different styles in different regions of Japan too. But yeah, I'll let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. So again, really nicely presented. The Japanese labels are, you know, they're very kind of old school, if you like, and there you can see this label, as I mentioned to you, is Akigeshiki, and it says something in kanji here. I'm not good with the Japanese kanji. It just talks about this rice having won prizes and been recommended and stuff like that, and it's just a plain black bottle top on this one as well. But yeah, just to tell you again, as I say, I'm no expert when it comes to sake tasting, but the things that we should rate sake on according to the experts are floral quality, fruitiness, earthiness, sweetness, dryness, acidity, impact and tail. So I'll make sure that in this tasting I talk about all of these different things. I'm still getting used, I'm still trying to train my palate a little bit towards sake. I mean, I've got a good palate when it comes to beer and whiskey and stuff like that, but I don't get to do too many sake tastings, so yeah, I'm still learning a little bit in this, so bear that in mind when you are watching this video. There's probably people watching this video that are far more well versed than I am when it comes to Japanese sake. But yeah, as you can see, and you know, as you would expect from a sake, unless it's a nigori, this one has poured very, very clear, crystal clear. Some of these ones, you know, they can have a little bit of a green tinge to them, they can have a little bit of a blue tinge. If I hold this one up to the light, this one to me has a little bit of a slightly greenish tinge to it. I'm not sure how well that's going to show up on the camera. I think you can see it a little bit. I'm just checking on my camera control down here. You can see my pal, the Japanese polar bear, next to me. But yeah, you know, a really nice looking one, crystal clear as you would expect from a Seishu. Like I mentioned to you, the Seishu is supposed to be a filtered kind of, you know, basically a filtered sake, this one, but it looks very, very nice. Let's take a look at the aroma and see how we got. And if I put my fingers behind this, incidentally, you can see this is a crystal clear sake, which is what you would expect from this style. So yeah, in terms of the aroma then, oh yeah, this one comes across as pretty damn sweet, I have to say. That's nice. I mean, the thing that's dominating the aroma for me in this one is the sweetness of that rice. There's no earthiness to this one that I can pick up. It has a little bit of a grassiness to it as well. It's not really got too much of a floral character for me. It has a nice sort of grassiness to it, this one. But a very, very sweet sake, no real earthiness, no sharpness or acidity kind of coming out of the aroma either. It's got a nice fruitiness to it though, and to me, I want to say this has a little bit of a kind of, the aroma has a little bit of a red fruity note to it. I don't know if it's a kind of, it's almost a little bit like a kind of candied strawberry or a fig or something like that. This sake comes across as being really quite fruity compared to some of the other ones that I've had. And I don't think I've ever had one that's quite as red and fruity as that. There's maybe a little bit of a kind of tropical-y note there, but to me the aroma in this one is it's a little bit red and fruity. I think it's, you know, a little bit strawberry. It's not quite tart enough to be raspberry, but it's definitely got this very kind of red curranty, red berry type of aroma to it, which is really nice. Yeah, I really like how the aroma comes across in this one. You've got a nice sweet ricey quality, but you've also got a really kind of juicy red fruity note coming out of this one. I really like how everything goes together in the aroma of this. It's definitely one of the sweeter and fruitier sakes that I've come across, and it does have that nice little bit of grassiness in it as well to give it the you know, just to give it a little bit of freshness too. So yeah, no real acidity coming out of the aroma. Sometimes you can pick that up with a really sharp citrusy quality, but yeah, I think this one is going to be really pretty nice actually. I can't remember how much I paid for this sake. I think it was maybe around 1200 yen, something like that. So if we translate that into euros, you know, it's about 10 euros, something like that. In pounds, you know, it's about 10, you know, I think it's about £9 or something like that. So, you know, quite a cheap sake, this one. And that's one of the things is, these sakes, they're very, very good quality. It's basically the Japanese equivalent of wine, although they do produce wine here. And incidentally, the red wines that you get in Japan are really damn good. But, you know, the Japanese sakes are basically the equivalents of wine over here, and the shochus are the equivalents of whiskey. So, yeah, I mean, this one to me is a really nice, sweet, and quite juicy, fruity sake. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of it before you get stuck in. But we're going to have a taste of this one now and just see how we get on. So this one is the Akigeshiki, if I've pronounced that correctly, from Kawazu Shuzo in Oguni, in the northeastern corner of Kumamoto Prefecture down in Kyushu here in Japan. Let's get stuck into this one. Slanju, Skål, Kampai. Oh yeah. This one I really, really like. You know, to be honest, I pretty much like all the sakes that I've tried. I like it just generally. But this one to me is one that really hits the spot. You know, the way that all the flavours in this one go together is just really nice. I mean, the first things I guess we should talk about, because to me I find that most of the subtleties in the flavour in sakes come out in the aftertaste, and you should talk about impact and tail as I was mentioning earlier. So when it comes to the impact of this one really comes out, and it's very smooth. It comes in, it's got a little tiny bite in the beginning, but then it just rolls across your tongue and becomes a little bit more oily, and that's when the sweetness of this one comes out. To me, you know, there's a tiny little bit of earthiness from the rice just kind of sitting underneath, but the sweetness of the rice really just dominates the middle of your palate, and the further you go into the aftertaste, the sweeter this one's getting actually. I really like the way that the ricey sweetness comes across in this one. This is a lovely, lovely sake actually, and to be honest, if they're using a special type of rice in this one, I mean, this brewery are renowned for their, as I said, for the yeast and the type of rice. Was it the Hanashi rice that they were using in this? Or Hanayashi rice, something like that. These guys are renowned for having sweet sakes because of the rice strains that they use. If this is a limited edition one, I'd be curious to try one of their original sakes and see what that's like, because this is, the way that the sweetness in this one goes together is really quite nice actually. Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful sake, this one. If you get the chance to try this, I mean, I don't know how easily you're going to find this. One of the things that's a bit annoying about Japan, actually, is the fact that they've got some really awesome regional produce, but it just doesn't make it to anywhere else. I mean, in Tokyo, yes, sometimes in Osaka, you'll get the prefecture stores that will carry things like this in their, you know, in their assortment, but sakes like this that are awesome, they just, you know, this one, I would bet it's very unlikely that this sake makes it outside of Kumamoto Prefecture, and it's a real shame. Part of the reason for that is just because some of these sake breweries are very, very small. The other reason is that Japanese distribution is just rubbish. You know, they're just not good at getting things around the country. So it's a kind of catch-22 system. They don't produce enough, but then again, they're not good at getting it around the country, but they're very good at actually producing stuff. It's a bit frustrating when you find something that's as good as this actually, that it's just never going to get out there to the level that it really should. But this is a lovely sake, and for those of you that are enthusiasts on this, if you get the chance to try this one, just, you know, go for it. It really is very good. So yeah, like I said, this one has a little bit of bite to it in the beginning. It rolls across your tongue, and then it starts to become very, very sweet. There's a little touch of earthiness in the middle of the palate, just lying underneath that rice, but really this one is leaning towards the sweet side of things. There's more floral quality to this one than I would have thought from the aroma. You do get a little bit of dryness around the edge of your palate, and that's where the kind of floral side of this sake is coming out. The interesting thing about this one is that the fruitiness isn't as juicy and things as I thought it was going to be. I picked up a hell of a lot of an almost figgy, red berryish note in the aroma, and there's a little bit of that in the taste, but you know, not overly much. I mean, if you focus on the very tip of your tongue almost, that's where the fruity notes are going to come out of this. And yeah, there is a little bit of a red berry, almost slightly figgy quality to this one. It's a very light, juicy red fruit, berryish quality, but the flavour is really dominated by the sweetness of the rice here and the floral quality. Actually, this sake really does go on to become quite fresh. There's not really an acidity to this one, to be honest with you. It doesn't have it too much in the way of sharpness. There may be a little touch of it at the front curve of your palate, but really not too much in the way of acidity. But it really, this is one of these ones where it all goes together very nicely, and the further you go into the aftertaste, you start to get more of that sweetness coming out, and some of the sort of floral quality just lingers there in the aftertaste as well. There's a little bit of the fruity juiciness starts to rear its head as well, and it pushes its way out. So some of that red figgy, red berryish fruity quality just pushes its way out a little bit more the further that you go into the aftertaste. But I really like how this one goes together. This is definitely one of the sweeter sakes that I've come across. And I mean, I have reviewed a very, very sweet sake, but if we're talking about traditional sweetness, I guess, the kind of lower end of the sweet scale, this is one of the ones where it really comes across quite nicely. So if you get the chance to try this one and you like sweet sakes, you know, I think this is one that's going to tick a lot of the boxes for you. I'd really like how this one's kind of coming across. For me, the sweetness really gets better the further that you go into the tail end of this one. So yeah, just think about that a little bit when you're trying this. I'm really glad that I was able to review this one for you. And like I say, a special sake that probably you're not going to come across again. So in terms of the mouthfeel, this one, like I said, generally, this is quite an oily sake, but it's by no means the most oily one that I've come across. I've always found that the sweeter ones do tend to be that little bit more oily. I'd say this one is kind of around the mid-oily level. It's got a little bit of dryness to it. Like I said, definitely more than I would have thought from the aroma, but it does have that little bit of dryness in it too, which gives it a little bit of crispness, which is quite nice. And you've also got some juicy fruitiness in there as well, but quite an oily sake overall, but not pushing the boundaries of being too oily, but very, very nicely done. And like I've repeated a few times, I'm glad that I was able to review this one for you, my first ever taste of a Kumamoto sake. So yeah, thumbs up to Kawazu Shuzo for this one. I really like this, and I'll be making sure that this bottle lasts a good little bit of time, in fact. And you know, for 1200 yen, you know, that to me, that's a ridiculously cheap price to pay for something that's as good as this. So yeah, you know, thumbs up to them for that. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on this sake. So this one is the, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, the Akigeshiki, a special edition, a special rice strain sake, if you like, from Kawazu Shuzo in Oguni in the northeastern part of Kumamoto, my second prefecture that I visited when I was down there with my cousin and my girlfriend. So let's leave this one at that, a 15% Seishu, and it's a really nice sweet rice flavoured sake, this one. So yeah, an awesome one to review, and I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on this. So once again, thank you for watching my sake reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite sakes are from Kawazu Shuzo, and I hope that I can try some more of their sort of regular sakes in the future, because I know this one is a special edition. Like I say, they're famed for this particular rice that they use, and also their house yeast strains as well. So this is a sake brewery that I really need to make sure that I manage to visit again. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Akigeshiki from Kawazu Shuzo in Oguni, Kumamoto, Japan. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Make sure you try this sake, and you will see some more Kyushu reviews coming up. Slanju, Skull, Kampai.